Hey! So for today's video, I'm actually going to be doing the baby name challenge. Just a little heads up for any members of my immediate family who might be like panicking right now. I'm not pregnant, I am not expecting any baby anytime soon. I have no children of my own. I just wanted to do this video because I've seen it floating around and a lot of people who do it don't actually have kids. So I thought I really want to do this challenge because it seems like something that would be really fun to do and it doesn't seem to matter that you don't have kids. So I'm doing this challenge just for fun, really. I think this video is a tag, but I haven't been tagged by anyone. I just really wanted to do it because I have had like a huge interest in baby names and just names in general since I was really young. Like I used to really take my time to think about what I'm going to name like my favourite doll, or I don't know, I used to play games with myself like schools, and I used to write names down on a register and stuff, and I was just like obsessed with names, and I still am. I have a list of like my favourite names on my phone for girls and boys and pets, actually, future pets. Okay, so I've got all the questions and the answers on my phone. The first question is, what is your favourite boy and girl's name from the top UK names list 2015? I don't know why it's 2015, but that's the list that I went from anyway. I find it really hard to just pick one name because there were so many that I really liked. Throughout this challenge, I've tried to do it so that I can kind of list as many different names as possible so that I don't repeat names as much, because a lot of my like favourite names are in the top 100 and stuff. So I've kind of left those out and I'll talk about them later. But I've just picked ones that I also really like that are in the top 100. I've picked two of each gender because I couldn't decide between each of them. So the first girl's name that I picked is Aria, and I've decided I really like 4-letter names that begin with a vowel, so like A, E, O, I don't know. I just really like those names that are 4 letters short, they're like pretty and they're easy to like pronounce. I don't know, I just like them. The only thing I don't like about the name Aria is that it reminds me of Aria from Pretty Little Liars, and she was like my least favourite character. I don't know why, but it just reminds me of her. But I still really love the name, so it's on my list. The second girl's name that I really love is Erin. So that's again 4 letters, it starts with a vowel. There's like a recurring trend in this video. For a boy, I picked 2 names as well because I couldn't decide. The first one is Jude, and I really loved this like 5 years ago. I still really love it, but I feel like it's getting more popular now, which is fine. I just really like that it sounds, I don't know, different to any of the boys' names, I think. I think it's just really cool. Oh, I had lipstick all over my teeth. That's great. I'm not refilming, so soz about that. Good job I checked. So the second boy's name that I went for was Finley, but I actually prefer the shortened version of Finley, which is Finn, but just F-I-N-N, so 4 letters again. Again, I just think it's a really cool name. For boys, I much prefer names that are like heard of, but not used very often. But I feel like Jude and Finley are both like rising in numbers to, they'll probably be in the top 5 in a couple of years, let's be honest. Question number 2 is, what is your least favourite boy and girl's name from the top UK names list 2015? A lot of people who I've seen do this video have actually kind of skipped this question because they don't necessarily want to like offend people and stuff. My answers I don't think will offend anybody because they're for a different reason. I don't really hate any of the names on the list, but there are a few names that I would definitely not call my children. So the first name that I went for a boy is Seth, and it's nothing really against the name. I just, every time I hear the name Seth, I think of a sloth, and I don't know why. I don't know whether there's like a character called like Seth the Sloth. I think that's Sid the Sloth. But I don't know why, Seth just sounds like sloth to me. So I just have that connection in my head about it. There's nothing wrong with the name, it's just my connection to it. And for the girl's name, I went for Leah. Again, nothing wrong with the name, it's just that when I think of the name Leah, I think of a girl who went to my school who was like a really horrible person, and she was the only Leah that I've ever known, so I just connect that name with her, and that's the only reason why those names are on my list. They just remind me of things that I wouldn't necessarily want to associate my child with. Question number 3 is, if you had twins, what would you name them? Girl girl, boy boy and boy girl. I really want twins, I'm not gonna lie. I am like desperate for identical twin girls. That would just be like the dream. But anyway, I want to quickly say as well, for all of my answers, these are my favourite names, but they wouldn't necessarily be what I would call my children, because obviously I would have to take my partner's opinion into account, and he doesn't like all of these names, and also they might be associated with like, I don't know, popular culture and stuff like that. But anyway, the names on my list are like my raw favourite names despite all those things. So even if Dan hates these names, like they're still going to be on my list, if that makes sense. So if I had 2 girl twins, I think I would call them Marnie and Madeline. because I think Marnie and Maddie sounds really cute. And I like the idea of having different names but the same letter for twins, because I feel like that still gives them a connection, but they're also different enough to have like individual names, do you know what I mean? If I had two boys, I think I would call them Max and Rex, and I know people are probably going to hate that because they sound so similar, but those are two of my favourite names ever. And for boys' names, I absolutely love an X in there somewhere. Most of my list I've found, like without even realising that most of them had an X in there somewhere, I just think they sound like, I don't know, I think they sound really cool. Like Max and Rex I think is just amazing. And if I had boy-girl twins, I would probably call them Piper and Bo, because I just think they are really nice names separately and then they just kind of flow well together as well. The next question is, if you could change your name to anything, what would it be? And this is really easy for me to answer. I would change my name to Alice, and there is a very good reason for this actually. So my name is obviously Rosie, but my actual name given at birth is Alice Rose. Alice as my first name, Rose as my middle name. However, I'm still not really sure how this actually happened, but I have 3 older sisters, and I think when I asked my mum about it, she says every time she had one of my sisters, the name Alice was always there, but they never ended up using it for them. So when I came along as the 4th girl, they decided to call me Alice because it was a name that was always there. And I was christened Alice Rose and everything. It was all like done, signed, sealed, delivered. Baby Alice. But my mum always says something like, her friend came into the hospital room and said, oh, like Alice in Wonderland or something, and then she kind of, I don't know why she like associated with that and couldn't get it out of her head or something. And she also thought that Alice sounded a bit sharp for a baby. I don't know, maybe she was hormonal, I don't know. But anyway, one thing led to another, and basically they started calling me Rosie from like a really young age. Before I was 1, like I was Rosie already. I don't know whether it was just a nickname that stuck or whether they just preferred Rosie in the end. But nobody ever called me Alice since. But on all of my legal documents, so my passport, my driving license, like every time I went to school, it was Alice. So in all the registers, it would be like, Alice, is Alice here? And I'd be like, it's Rosie. So that was quite annoying growing up, not gonna lie. I kind of just wish I had one name just to make everything less confusing. I actually did change my name by default to Rosie when I was 18, I think. But I still haven't changed it on like my passport and my driving license just because I don't want to pay to change my name. So I'll probably do it one day, but not anytime soon. But I actually really like the name Alice, and I do like the name Rosie too, probably about as much as I like the name Alice. But I feel like if I was Alice, my life would just be a lot easier and I would have the same name like throughout my life. So that would be the name that I would change it to. The next question is, you have 4 children, any gender, their first names all have to start with the same letter. What would their names be? And I am going to be repeating myself with this question because I just really like all of these names. So I went for the letter M and I did 2 girls and 2 boys names. So I did Marnie, Maximilian, Max for short, Madeline and Mika. Next question is, what's your favourite animal inspired name? So I have 2 for a boy and 2 for a girl, but the 2 that I have for a girl could also be like unisex. So the first boy's animal inspired name that I have is Wolf. I actually love this name, and Tammy Hembro's little boy is called Wolf and he is like the cutest thing ever. And I just love wolves as an animal. I think they're amazing animals, so I would be happy calling my child after one. I also really like the name Fox for a boy. I think that's amazing as well, and it has an X in it, so obviously I like it. For girls I have the names Wren, like W-R-E-N, and Robin, so kind of like bird inspired names for girls. The next question is, what's your favourite colour inspired name? So I have 1 for a boy and 3 for girls because I couldn't decide. But for a boy, I really love the name Grey. I don't know why, I've always liked the colour grey. I think grey's a really great colour and I think it's a really nice boy's name. And I also think it's a good name throughout your life, like it matches just as well as a child as it does for an adult. For a girl, I think my favourite one is probably Violet. I love that name, however, I really wouldn't want it to get shortened to Vi. I really hate that, so I think Violet's really, really pretty, not a massive fan of Vi. So if I did decide to name my child Violet and people started to call her Vi, I would have to nip that straight in the bud. Or they might even shorten it to Vile, and that's not okay. Oh, now somebody's drilling. I love living in London sometimes. I'm really sorry, there's somebody drilling outside, but I'm just gonna have to keep going because there's always some kind of noise and it's so annoying, but we're gonna power through. So the other colour-inspired girl's name that I have on the list is Lilac, and that's because when my sister was younger, I remember, because she doesn't have a middle name, she is just Amelia, she wanted to like invent her own middle name and she made it as Lilac, so she used to write like Amelia Lilac on everything. And I remember really liking that when she decided that she wanted that as her middle name, and I was like, fully on board with it. And I don't know, I just thought it was a really nice name to put on the list. And the third girls one that I have is Emerald. And this is because, and this is a funny story, there was a Toddlers and Tiaras episode, like this video if you've seen the episode, and the little girl on it is called Emerald, and she is like literally the cutest thing ever, and they call her Emmy for short, or M. I just think that's really cute, like Emerald. I quite like that compared to a lot of other names that start with M. I think it's like a really nice different alternative if you like the names like M or Emmy. I think it's cute. Next question is, what are your top 3 favourite boys' names? So I went for Maximilian. That's my favourite boy's name because Maximilian I think just sounds so cool and like it's really different I think. But I like how you can shorten it to Max, which is a lot more like popular and people will be like, oh yeah, Max, rather than having to say like Maximilian all the time. The next one I have on my list is Rex. I really love the name Rex. Again, it's just the X in it. I just love it. It kind of reminds me of Rex from Desperate Housewives, but I'm totally fine with that. And the third name I have on my boys list is Bo. I really love this name. I think it's because I had like a best friend when I was in primary school called Bo. She was actually a girl called Bo. And it kind of reminds me of her, which is cute, but I also really love it for a boy's name. What are your top 3 favourite girls' names? I actually much prefer girls' names to boys' names. I don't know why, I just have always thought girls' names were a lot prettier and they have a lot more behind them, I don't know. So the first one, which has always been there, is the name Grace. I think that is just like a really pretty name and it's really timeless and classic, and I don't think it will ever go out of style. And I also think it's a really good name to have from being like a baby, child, teenager, adult to an old lady. Like Grace is just such a solid, good name. I used to babysit a little girl called Grace and she was like the cutest kid ever as well, so it just reminds me of her. And yeah, I just really love the name Grace. The next girl's name on my favourites list is Indy. And this is actually a more recent addition to my list because I started watching the Gardner Quad Squad, and if you don't know who they are, oh my god, they are like the cutest family ever. So you have Mum Ashley and Dad Tyson, and they have quadruplets, but the quadruplets are 2 sets of identical twin girls. Like, that's the dream right there. And they are so cute, and I really liked the name Indy because one of the quads is called Indy. I just think that's such a nice, like, cute name that not many people have. And I know that Sammy Maria on YouTube also has a little girl called Indy Rose, and she's really cute as well. So I just think Indy's such a nice name for a little girl. The next question is, what is your favourite celebrity baby name? And again, I picked 3 because I'm just really indecisive. The first one that I really liked was Edie, and that's the name of Keira Knightley and James Wrighton's baby. And it just reminds me of Edie from Desperate Housewives. And I just think it's a really cute little name. Again, 4 letters, again starts with a vowel. You can see this trend forming. The next one I really liked was Arlo Day, and Arlo is the first name, I'm guessing Day is the middle name, and that's Leighton Meester and Adam Brody's child. And I just really like the name Arlo. I think it's like one of those names that just rolls off the tongue. Again, it's 4 letters, again it starts with a vowel. And I really liked that the middle name was Day because that's my surname. So yeah, I really like that one too. And the last one I really like is Dusty Rose, and that's Adam Levine and Bahati Prinsloo's child. Oh, there's an ice cream van now. I actually really want an ice cream. The next question is, what is your ultimate guilty pleasure name? Again, I've picked one for a boy and for a girl. And my boy name, I don't really think it's a guilty pleasure name, but every time I tell somebody that I like this name, they're like, oh god, that's awful. Or like, why would you ever call your child that? And I know Jamie Oliver has a child who also has this name, but I really like it. It's the name River for a boy, R-I-V-E-R. I don't know, I just think it's really nice. I can't see any difference to like River and brook for a girl, for like, because a brook is like a stream and a river is a river. Like, I don't know why people think it's so weird, but I really like the name River anyway. And my guilty pleasure name for a girl, I don't think it's really a guilty pleasure either, but I feel like it's one of those names that's a bit like Marmite, like you either love it or you hate it. And that's Evangeline. And you know, when I was talking about the Gardner quadruplets from earlier, another one of those is actually called Evangeline, but they call her Evie, which I think is really cute. And she's like my favourite one out of all 4. I think she's just like got such a cute little personality. But it could be one of those that's like Florence, whereas before you wouldn't really necessarily call your child Florence because it would be a bit out there, but now it's like a really normal popular name. So I feel like Evangeline could be coming back around again. The next question is, what are your most hated baby names? And I thought about this and I thought I don't really hate any names necessarily, because what's my preference might not obviously be somebody else's preference. Like, they're all so different, you can't really hate on any of them. But I thought about it a little bit and I've come to the conclusion that I really don't like names that are spelt in like stupid ways. For example, I remember in a magazine once and I actually have a picture of it on my phone, I remember taking it. Okay, so here it is, and this says I've always loved the name Caitlin, but hated how popular it was. So when I found out I was having a girl, my husband suggested we replace the 8, A-I-T, in Caitlin with the Roman numeral symbol for 8. Now our daughter's name is truly unique, and they've spelt it K-V-I-I-I-L-Y-N. That poor child. I remember another example that I'd seen in a magazine, and her name was Emily, but she spelt it E-M-M-E-R-L-E-I-G-H. I don't know whether it's something like other countries do more than here in the UK, but I don't know, I just think it's a bit like tacky. Like, just call your child Emily if you want to call her Emily, don't call her Emily. Do you know what I mean? No offence if that's your name. The next question is, choose a baby name based on a food or drink. I really couldn't think of a name for a boy with this one, so I just went for girls. I've got 2 girls' names. So the first one is Olive. I actually named my first car Olive because it was like a really nice olive green colour. And the second girl's name that I really love is Brie, like B-R-I-E. I think that's a really cute little name. Again, reminds me of Brie from Desperate Housewives. Whoever made up the names for the characters in that programme did a great job, honestly. The next question is, choose a baby name based on a month. So for a boy, I went for August because obviously Augustus is a boy's name anyway, and I think that's what it means, like Augustus means August. And for a girl, I actually went for January because me and Dan are watching Mad Men at the moment on Netflix, and we absolutely love it. And the actress who plays Betty is called January Jones, really famous actress, you've probably heard of her. But I just think the name January Jones sounds so like cool and unique and different. And I love that it's a month name, it's like it's always been there, but nobody's ever really gone for it, and I just really like that. So I think January is a really nice name for a girl. The next question is, choose a baby name from a movie. I've actually got 2 for a boy and 2 for a girl again. So the 2 that I have for a boy are Romeo, obviously from Romeo and Juliet, and Austin from Austin Powers. I love both of those names, not necessarily because of the films, but they are from really famous films, so I just love the names separate to the films. And for a girl, I really like the name Annie, obviously again, Annie the musical. And the second girl's name that I really like from a movie is Madeline. But I know that the movie is actually pronounced Madeline, but I don't like that as much. I much prefer Madeline. So I like the spelling of the movie, but the pronunciation like Madeline, which I know kind of contradicts it, but that's how I like it. And the next question is, choose a name that is already in your family. I went for 3 again with this one because that's just how I roll. So I've got 2 for a girl and 1 for a boy. The boy's name is Renan, and that's my sister's baby's name. And she spells it like this, so R-E-N-A-N. And you pronounce it Renan, but he gets called Ren for short. So I just really love that name. When she told us, I was like, oh my god, I absolutely love it, because I really like unique names. And nobody in our family really has a name that unique. The same sister, her other child is called Daisy. Daisy was always on my list growing up as my favourite name, or one of my favourite names anyway. And also I have a cousin called Nancy, and I really love that name as well. Timeless, classic. I really like timeless classic names that don't ever go out of fashion. I feel like Nancy's one of those. Okay, so that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed that. I'm really sorry if I offended anyone with my preferences. I don't think I would have done, unless your name is Caitlin with the Roman numerals. But I doubt that's you. But anyway, I really hope you liked the video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you did, and I can do more baby name kind of themed videos in the future. Let me know in the comments if you have any of the names that I said that I liked or didn't like. Make sure to write in the comments and let me know. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Goodbye!